The council chambers were beautiful. 50 years ago, when humans first walked through these doors, Ambassador Tae-Yang Kim had stared at everything with wide eyes. The ceiling stretched up so high that clouds sometimes formed near the top. The walls glowed with soft blue light. 17 different species sat in a circle, each on seats designed for their unique bodies. Today, Tae-Yang no longer stared. He was older now, with gray in his hair and lines around his eyes. He had seen these chambers too many times. He knew every corner, every light, every face that looked down at him from the elevated seats. Bora Shin stood beside him. She was his assistant, younger and still full of energy. She carried a datapad filled with reports. Reports of everything humanity had done for the council in the past year. The list was long. Ambassador, she whispered. Are you ready? Tae-Yang nodded slowly. He was always ready. He had been ready for 50 years. The council head, a tall Vrelian named Thextor, called the session to order. His voice boomed across the chamber. We will now hear from the human delegation. Tae-Yang walked to the center of the room. His footsteps echoed. He felt the eyes of 17 species watching him. Some looked bored. Others looked annoyed that they had to listen to the humans again. He began his report. 3 years ago, the Velthrian homeworld was dying, he said. Their atmosphere was turning toxic. Their people were suffocating. Dr. Haewon Park, a human scientist, worked for 18 months without rest. She designed atmospheric processors that saved their world. 12 billion Velthrians are alive today because of her work. The Velthrian counselor shifted in his seat. He did not look at Tae-Yang. Last year, the Crimson Plague returned, Tae-Yang continued. 4 species faced extinction. Dr. Haewon Park developed a cure in 6 months. The plague was stopped. Billions of lives were saved. Someone in the council yawned. Tae-Yang saw it but kept talking. The quantum relay network that connects all our worlds was built by human engineers. Commander Sang-Ho Lee led the project. It took 10 years and cost humanity dearly. 300 human workers died in space accidents during construction. But now, all council worlds can communicate instantly. Bora watched the council members. Most were looking at their own datapads. They were not listening. They had heard this before. Humans always talked about what they had done. It was boring to them. 5 years ago, the frontier wars threatened to tear apart the outer systems, Tae-Yang said. His voice was quieter now. Jiwoo Choi spent 3 years negotiating peace. She missed the birth of her daughter. She missed her father's funeral. But she brought peace. Counselor Thexitor made a dismissive gesture. Yes, yes. We are all aware of human contributions. Is there anything new to report? Tae-Yang paused. Something flickered in his eyes. Bora knew that look. It was the look he got when he was very tired. No, Counselor. Nothing new. Then let us move to the vote, Thextor said. The matter of the Kestor trade routes. Bora's hands tightened around her datapad. This was important. The Kestor routes would allow human merchants to trade with 12 new systems. Human colonies needed those trade connections. They needed the resources. They needed the income. The vote began. One by one, the council members cast their votes. One by one, they voted no. The Kestor routes will be granted to the Vrelian merchant fleet, Thextor announced. As the elder species, they have priority. Tae-Yang said nothing. He simply bowed his head. Bora wanted to shout. She wanted to throw her datapad at the smug faces looking down at them. But Tae-Yang put a gentle hand on her arm. His touch said, not here. Not now. They walked out of the chambers in silence. That evening, Bora found Tae-Yang in his office. He was looking at old photographs on his desk. One showed him as a young man, standing in front of Earth's first council embassy. He looked so happy then, so full of hope. Why do they hate us? Bora asked. They don't hate us, Tae-Yang said softly. That would require seeing us as equals. They simply don't think about us at all. But we've done so much for them. I know. Dr. Park saved billions of lives. Commander Lee connected the galaxy. Jiwoo brought peace, and they treat us like we're nothing. Tae-Yang looked at her. His eyes were very old. Do you know what hurts the most, Bora? It's not the disrespect. It's the fact that they truly believe they're doing us a favor by letting us serve them. They think we should be grateful. Bora sat down. She felt the weight of it all. 50 years of humanity giving everything they had. 50 years of being patted on the head like children. What do we do? She asked. Tae-Yang was quiet for a long time. Then he smiled. It was a sad smile. We keep records, Bora. We keep very good records. The next day, a human cargo ship arrived at the council world. It carried food from Earth's agricultural colonies. The ship's captain was a woman named Yuna Han. She had been running cargo for 15 years. As she unloaded crates of grain, Avrelian dock workers sneered at her. More charity from the humans? You people must love giving things away for free. Yuna said nothing. She had learned not to argue. Later that week, a human medical team treated patients at a council hospital. The head doctor was a young man named Kiwoo Nam. He had invented a new type of medical scanner that could detect diseases before symptoms appeared. The council had taken his patent and given it to everyone for free. They said it belonged to the Galactic Commons. Kiwoo got nothing. Avrelian patient looked at him with disgust. Try to be gentler. Your human hands are too rough. Kiwoo apologized and continued his work. On a human colony called New Pyongyang, Governor Yoon Ha-yoon received a message. Pirates had attacked the outer settlements again. 20 farms were burned. 15 families were dead. She sent an urgent request to the council for military protection. The council's response came 3 days later. Military resources are currently allocated to higher priority systems. Please increase your local defense forces. Yoon Ha looked at the message and wept. Higher priority systems. Systems that produced less food, housed fewer people, but belonged to elder species. Back on the council world, Tae-Yang Kim added another report to his files. He had been keeping files for 50 years. Every slight, every theft, every death that could have been prevented, every promise broken, every time humanity gave everything and received nothing. Bora watched him work late into the night. What are you doing, Ambassador? Building a case, he said quietly. One day these files will matter. A case for what? Tae-Yang looked at her. In his eyes, she saw something new. Not anger, not hatred, something colder, something like determination. For the future, he said. For the day when we stop asking for their respect and simply walk away. Bora felt a chill run down her spine. Outside the window, human ships came and went. They brought food, medicine, technology, and hope. The council took it all without a word of thanks, and in his quiet office an old ambassador kept counting. 50 years of service. 50 years of being invisible. But not forever. Not forever. 15 years passed like water through fingers. Each year brought new insults. Each year humanity swallowed their pride and continued working. Dr. Kiwoo Nam had spent 7 years developing something revolutionary. He called it quantum shielding. It could protect ships and stations from any weapon. The technology was brilliant. Even the Vrelian scientists admitted it was beyond anything they had created. Kiwoo presented his work to the Council's Technology Commission. He was proud. This could change everything. Human colonies could finally defend themselves properly. Councillor Thextor examined the data with cold eyes. Impressive work for a human. Kiwoo smiled. He thought it was praise. Then Thextor said, however, this technology is too important to be owned by one species. The Commission rules that quantum shielding belongs to the Galactic Commons. All species may use it freely. Kiwoo felt like he had been punched. But I spent 7 years. My team worked without rest. We invested everything. And the galaxy thanks you for your service, Thextor said. Your contribution will be noted in the records. Noted in the records. Not paid. Not credited properly. Just noted. Kiwoo returned to Earth empty-handed. His research team disbanded. They had families to feed. They took other jobs. The quantum shielding they invented now protected Vrelian warships, protected Krelian stations, protected everyone except the humans who invented it. 3 years later, Governor Yoon Ha-yoon stood in the ashes of New Pyongyang's capital city. The pirates had come again, but this time they brought more ships. Better weapons. They had grown bold. 2,000 people died in the attack. The governor's own son was among them. He was 12 years old. He died in her arms. She sent 15 messages to the council, each one more desperate than the last. The council finally responded. Governor Yoon, we understand your frustration. However, the council's military forces are currently protecting the Vrelian mining operations in the Kestor system. We cannot spare ships for your colony at this time. We suggest you improve your local defenses. Yoon-ha read the message 3 times. Vrelian mining operations. They could send ships to protect mines, but not to save human children. She walked through the burned streets. Families were pulling bodies from collapsed buildings. A little girl sat crying next to her dead mother. An old man searched through rubble, calling his wife's name. Yunha made a decision. She sent one more message, not to the council, to Earth, to Ambassador Tae-yang Kim. The message was simple. They will let us all die, and they will not lose sleep over it. Tae-yang added it to his files. The pile grew larger every year. 5 years after that, a man named Hyun-woo Bae discovered something disturbing. Hyun-woo was humanity's cultural liaison. His job was to make sure human history and culture were properly represented in galactic education. He was reviewing the newest edition of the Galactic History textbook used in schools across the council systems. He turned to the section on recent galactic achievements, the atmospheric processors that saved the Velthrian homeworld. The textbook credited them to a team of mixed-species scientists. Dr. Hae-won Park's name appeared in tiny print at the bottom of a long list. The cure for the Crimson Plague, listed as a collaborative effort of the Council Medical Board. Dr. Park wasn't mentioned at all. The Quantum Relay Network, designed and built by the Council Engineering Corps. Commander Sang-Ho Lee's name was gone. The 300 humans who died building it were forgotten. Hyun-woo felt sick. He filed a formal complaint. He provided evidence. He showed how human contributions were being erased from history. The Council's Education Committee met to review his complaint. They took 3 months. Their final decision came in a short message. Mr. Bae's concerns are noted. However, the committee finds no systematic bias. The textbooks reflect collaborative galactic efforts as is appropriate. Mr. Bae's complaint appears to stem from cultural oversensitivity. No changes will be made. Oversensitivity. That was their word for it. Hyun-woo had shown them proof of erasure, and they called him oversensitive. He sent his report to Ambassador Tae-yang Kim, another file for the growing pile. The final insult came 2 years before everything changed. Yuna Han had spent 20 years as a prospector. She searched space for valuable minerals. It was dangerous work. She had survived meteor strikes, equipment failures, and pirate attacks. Finally, she found something incredible. A planet rich in quantum crystals. These crystals were the rarest material in the galaxy. They powered the fastest ships, the strongest shields, the most advanced technology. Yuna registered her claim properly. She followed every rule. She filed all the correct documents. The planet was hers by law. She was going to be rich. More importantly, humanity was going to be rich. They could finally have the resources they needed. Then the council passed a new law. They called it the Mutual Development Act. It sounded friendly. It sounded fair. The law said that when a young species discovered valuable resources, elder species could claim partial ownership in exchange for mentorship tokens. These tokens were supposed to represent guidance and wisdom. Counselor Thextor himself came to inform Yuna of the decision. Your discovery is impressive. However, under the Mutual Development Act, the Vrelian Commerce Guild is entitled to 70% of mining rights. You will retain 30% and receive 5 mentorship tokens. Yuna stared at him. 70%? I found it. I filed the claim. I followed your laws, and we appreciate your discovery, Thextor said smoothly. The 30% you retain is quite generous for a young species. You should be grateful. Grateful? Yuna's voice shook. I spent 20 years searching. I nearly died a dozen times. And you're stealing my discovery. Stealing is such an ugly word, Thextor said. We prefer to think of it as shared prosperity. The elder species have much wisdom to offer in exchange. I don't want wisdom, Yuna said. I want what's mine. Then you don't want to be part of the council, Thextor said coldly. Is that what you're saying? Yuna opened her mouth, then closed it. She knew the truth. If humanity left the council, they would lose everything. All their embassies, all their treaties, all their connections. They would be alone in a dangerous galaxy, so she said nothing. 70% of her discovery went to the Vrelians. She got 30% and 5 worthless tokens. The tokens were certificates printed on fancy paper. They meant nothing. Yuna sent her report to Ambassador Tae-yang Kim. She included a note. How much more will we take? How much more until we say enough? In his office on the council world, Tae-yang read her message. He was very old now. His hair was completely gray. His hand shook sometimes. Bo-Ra Shin was still with him. She was middle-aged now, but still full of fire. She slammed her hand on his desk. "This is too much," she said. "We can't keep accepting this treatment. We save their lives. We build their technology. We feed their people. And they steal from us. They erase us. They let our children die. When does it end?" Tae-Yang looked at his files. 50 years of documentation. 50 years of theft, insults, and deaths. Every incident carefully recorded. Every injustice preserved. "It ends soon," he said quietly. "What do you mean?" Tae-Yang opened a drawer. Inside was a document. It had taken 5 years to prepare. It had been reviewed by human lawyers, economists, and military leaders. It was a plan. "We've been preparing," Tae-Yang said. Quietly. Very quietly. "Admiral Daewon Kang has repositioned our fleet. Trade Minister Soo-Jin Lee has restructured our trade contracts. Dr. Jae Sung-oh has moved our research facilities. Engineer Sang-ho Lee's daughter Yuna has been training our engineers on something important." "Training them on what?" "How to disconnect everything we built." Bo-Ra felt her heart race. "You're serious?" "I've never been more serious about anything in my life." "When?" "Soon," Tae-Yang said. "Very soon. We just need one more insult. One more moment where they show us exactly what they think we're worth." He looked at his files one last time. 50 years of being treated like servants. 50 years of being useful but not valued. "We built the roads they walk on," Tae-Yang said softly. "We healed the sick they abandoned. We solved the problems they couldn't, and they call us children." Bo-Ra understood. The time for begging was over. The time for silence was coming. The council chamber looked the same as always. Beautiful, cold, indifferent. Ambassador Tae-Yang Kim walked to the center of the room one last time. He carried a single data pad. No thick reports. No long presentations. Just one small device. Bo-Ra Shin watched from the human delegation area. Her heart was beating fast. She knew what was coming. After all these years, it was finally happening. The council members barely looked up. This was routine for them. Another year, another human report. They had heard it all before. Councillor Thextor gestured lazily. "Ambassador Kim, you may present your annual contribution report." Tae-Yang stood in the center of the chamber. The lights made his gray hair look white. He looked small standing there, surrounded by the elevated seats of 17 species. But his voice was steady. "I withdraw humanity's petition for renewal of active council membership. We will remain as observers only. Thank you for the opportunity you have given us. We wish you well." Silence. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They didn't understand. Then Councillor Thextor laughed. It was a cruel, mocking sound. "Is this a negotiation tactic, Ambassador? Are you trying to gain sympathy? Throwing a tantrum won't help your position." "This is not a tantrum," Tae-Yang said quietly. "This is a decision. Humanity is withdrawing from active council participation effective immediately." "You can't be serious," another councillor said. "Your species has worked so hard to be part of the council. You've spent 50 years trying to prove yourselves. And now you want to leave?" "We don't want to leave," Tae-Yang said. "We simply recognize that our contributions are not valued. We will remain as observers. We will follow council laws, but we will no longer actively participate." Thextor leaned forward. His eyes narrowed. "You're angry about the trade routes, about the mining rights. This is about feeling insulted, isn't it? You humans are so emotional." "No, Counselor. We are not emotional. We are practical. For 50 years we have given everything. We have received little in return. It is time for us to focus on our own people." "You'll be back," Thextor said confidently. "When you realize what you're losing, you'll come crawling back. Give it a month. Maybe 2. Tae-Yang said nothing. He simply bowed respectfully and walked out of the chamber. Bo-Ra followed him. In the hallway, her hands were shaking. "It's really happening." "It's really happening," Tae-Yang confirmed. What the council didn't know was that the withdrawal had been planned down to the smallest detail. For the past year, humanity had been preparing. Admiral Daewon Kang stood on the bridge of the human flagship. He gave a single order. All ships return to human space. Across the galaxy, human military vessels stopped what they were doing. They had been providing security for council trade routes, protecting council colonies, responding to emergencies. Now they turned around and headed home. No fanfare, no announcements. They just left. Trade Minister Sujin Lee sent out coded messages to every human merchant ship. The contracts had all been carefully written to expire on the same day. Today, cargo ships carrying food, medicine, and supplies stopped their deliveries. Captains politely informed their contacts that the contracts were complete. They were not renewing. They were going home. The council would call it coincidence at first. Just bad timing, Dr. Jae-sung. Oh stood in his research facility on a council world. Around him, human scientists packed their equipment. The facility had been studying quantum mechanics. Human scientists had made breakthroughs that the council scientists couldn't understand. Is everything backed up? Dr. O asked. Yes, sir. All data is secured. All equipment is ready for transport. Then let's go home. The facility closed its doors. The lights went dark. A simple sign appeared. Thank you for hosting us. This facility is now closed. Engineer Sang-ho Lee's daughter, Yuna Lee, worked quickly. She was on a council station, deep in the quantum relay network's central hub. Her fingers flew across the controls. Every system humanity had built contained a special feature, biometric locks. Only human technicians could operate them. The council had never noticed. Why would they? Humans had always been there to fix things. Yuna activated the locks. One by one, systems began requiring human authorization to function. Without it, they would slowly degrade and fail. She looked at the main screen. The quantum relay network stretched across the galaxy like a web of light. Every connection point had been built by human engineers. Every relay station maintained by human technicians. Authorization lock enabled, the computer announced. Human biometric signature required for maintenance access. Yuna closed her toolbox and walked away. On a medical station orbiting the Vrelian homeworld, Dr. Haewon Park spoke to her staff. She was older now, but still sharp, still brilliant. Pack everything. We're closing the facility. A young nurse looked confused. But doctor, we have patients. Transfer them to the council medical staff. Make sure all records are properly handed over. We are leaving nothing undone. We are simply going home. But the atmospheric processors, they're programmed to run for 6 months without maintenance. After that, the council will need to figure it out themselves. Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated. Human doctors closed their clinics. Human teachers left their schools. Human engineers packed their tools. Human farmers stopped sending food shipments. There were no dramatic speeches, no angry declarations, no violence. Humanity simply stopped being there. On the council world, Embassy Row was lined with flags from 17 species. The human embassy had stood there for 50 years. It was smaller than the others, but it had always been neat, well maintained. The lights always on. Now the lights went dark. Bo-Ra Shin was the last human in the building. She walked through the empty halls. So many memories here, so many meetings, so many times they had begged for fairness. She stopped at the main entrance. A display screen stood there used for announcements. She typed a final message. Thank you for the opportunity to serve alongside you. We wish you well in your future endeavors. May your civilization prosper, no anger, no accusations, just professional courtesy. Bo-Ra locked the door behind her and walked to the spaceport. Her ship was waiting. It would take her home to Earth. She was the last human to leave the council world. Within 72 hours, the galaxy began to notice. A cargo captain arrived at a station expecting his regular delivery of human-grown grain. The ship never arrived. He checked his messages. The contract had expired. No renewal. A hospital administrator called for Dr. Haewon Park's team to consult on a difficult case. The clinic was closed, empty, dark. A Vrelian engineer tried to repair a malfunctioning quantum relay. The system asked for authorization. Human authorization? The engineer didn't have it. The system rejected his access. The atmospheric processors on the Velthrian homeworld began showing warnings. Maintenance required. The human technicians who usually handled it were gone. Counselor Thexter received the first reports in his office. He read them with growing annoyance. Find the humans. Contact them. Tell them to come back, his assistant tried. She sent messages to the human embassy. No response. The building was empty. She called Earth directly. A polite voice answered, Foreign Ministry of Earth, how may we help you? This is the Galactic Council. We need to speak with Ambassador Kim immediately. Ambassador Kim is no longer available for council consultations. However, Foreign Minister Kim would be happy to schedule a meeting if you wish to establish diplomatic relations with Earth's independent government. Independent government? You're still part of the Council. As observers, yes. But we are no longer active participants. Was there something specific you needed? The atmospheric processors on Velthria are failing. We need human technicians. I'm sorry, but our technicians are no longer available for off-world assignments. Perhaps your own engineers can handle the maintenance. Have a good day. The call ended. Thextor stared at his screen. They couldn't be serious. This had to be a bluff, but the reports kept coming. Human ships weren't responding to calls. Human facilities were closed. Human workers were gone. A junior counselor entered Thextor's office. She looked worried. Sir, we've confirmed it. Every human military ship has left Council space. Every human merchant vessel has returned to human territory. Every human scientist, doctor, teacher, and worker has gone home. All of them? All of them. The humans are gone. Thextor felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Uncertainty. This is just temporary, he said. They're making a point. They'll be back. But deep down, something cold settled in his chest. On Earth, in a quiet office, Tae-Yang Kim sat with Bo Ra-shin. They watched the reports coming in from the Council space. Panic was starting to spread. They still don't understand, Bo Ra said. They will, Tae-Yang replied. Give them time. They'll understand very soon. He looked out the window at Earth's sky. Blue. Beautiful. Home. For the first time in 50 years, Ambassador Tae-Yang Kim smiled. The first year was uncomfortable. Food shipments from human agricultural world stopped arriving. Stations that had relied on human-grown crops had to find new suppliers. The food was more expensive. Sometimes it was lower quality, but they managed. Some council engineers tried to fix the systems humans had maintained. They worked hard. They studied the human designs. Some things they figured out. Other things remained mysterious. The quantum relay network started having problems. Small ones at first. A few dropped signals. Some delays in communication. Nothing major. Counselor Thextor dismissed it. See, we don't need them. We're managing fine. But managing fine was not thriving. The second year was harder. The atmospheric processors on the Velthrian homeworld were failing faster now. The Vrelian engineers had kept them running, but barely. The air quality was dropping. People were getting sick. The Velthrian counselor stood before the council with desperation in his eyes. We need help. The processors are beyond our ability to repair. They were designed by Dr. Haewon Park. Only she understands them fully. Then offer her a contract, Thextor said. Pay her to come back and fix them. They tried. A delegation traveled to Earth. They met with Dr. Park in a clean, modern office. She listened politely as they explained the problem. Can you help us? They asked. I'm sorry, Dr. Park said, but I'm currently working on projects for Earth's government. My schedule is completely full. We'll pay you. Name your price. It's not about money. It's about priorities. My priority is my own people now. But 12 billion Velthrians will suffer if the processors fail. Dr. Park's eyes were kind but firm. I saved those 12 billion lives once. For free, I gave you the technology. I trained your engineers as much as they would let me. If they couldn't learn to maintain it, that's not my responsibility anymore. The delegation left empty-handed. The quantum relay network continued to degrade. More systems went offline. Communication between distant systems became difficult. Some colonies found themselves cut off for days at a time. A Krellian engineer named Moroccan studied the problem obsessively. She was young and brilliant. She had been one of the few council species who actually paid attention when human engineers explained things. She traced the network's design. She followed every connection. She analyzed every component. And slowly she began to understand something terrible. The humans hadn't just built the network. They had built everything. Every major advancement in the last 50 years traced back to human innovation. The council had been coasting on human ingenuity without even realizing it. Moroccan compiled a report. It took her 6 months. When she finished, she stared at the conclusions with growing horror. The report showed that 90% of the council's technological infrastructure depended on human-designed systems. Medical treatments came from human research. Food production used human agricultural techniques. Defense systems used human shield technology. Transportation relied on human relay networks. The council hadn't been a partnership. It had been humans carrying everyone else on their backs. Moroccan presented her report to the council. Most dismissed it. Councillor Thexter called it exaggerated and biased toward human contributions, but the evidence was undeniable. The third year brought catastrophe. The Crimson Plague returned. It appeared on a mining colony in the Outer Rim. The same disease that had nearly destroyed 4 species decades ago. The colony's doctors tried to use the cure Dr. Park had developed. But the plague had mutated slightly. The old cure didn't work as well. They needed Dr. Park to develop an updated version. She refused to come. "I gave you the cure once," she said when they called her. "I gave you all my research. I explained my methods. Your own scientists should be able to adapt it. But they can't. The plague is spreading too fast. Then I suggest you work faster." The plague spread to 3 more colonies. Thousands died, then tens of thousands. The council's own medical team struggled. They didn't have Dr. Park's intuition. They didn't have her brilliance. A young Vrelian doctor contacted Dr. Park privately. He begged, "Please, I know we treated you badly. I know we took you for granted. But innocent people are dying. Children are dying. Please help us." Dr. Park was silent for a long time. Then she said, "Send me all your data. I'll look at it." She worked for 3 weeks. She developed an updated treatment. She sent it to the young Vrelian doctor. She didn't ask for payment. She didn't ask for recognition. She simply sent the cure and went back to her work on Earth. But she didn't come in person. She didn't send human medical teams. She gave them the knowledge and let them handle it themselves. The plague was stopped. But not before 50,000 people died. 50,000 deaths that might have been prevented if Dr. Park had been there from the start. The council began to fracture. Elder species blamed each other. The Vrelians blamed the Krellians for not maintaining the quantum network properly. The Krellians blamed the Velthrians for not learning to fix their own atmospheric processors. Everyone blamed someone else. No one wanted to say the truth out loud. They had all been relying on humanity, and now humanity was gone. Food shortages grew worse. Stations went hungry. Some colonies began growing their own food, but it took time. Years even. People were starving now. Defense systems failed. Without human shield technology and maintenance, some worlds became vulnerable. Pirates grew bolder. Small conflicts erupted on the frontier. Councillor Thexitor grew older and thinner. The weight of it all pressed down on him. Reports crossed his desk every day. Each one worse than the last. One day, Moroccan came to his office. She carried her report again. The one he had dismissed. "Counselor, you need to read this." "Really read it?" Thextor was tired, so tired. "I've read it." "No, you dismissed it. Please, look at it again." He took the report. This time he read every word. Every chart. Every analysis. The report detailed 50 years of human contributions. Not just the big things, but everything. The small innovations. The daily maintenance. The constant problem solving. Humans had fixed 1,000,000 small problems that the council never even noticed. They had prevented disasters before they happened. They had kept everything running smoothly while the elder species took credit and moved on. The report's conclusion was damning. The Galactic Council's prosperity for the last 50 years was built entirely on human labor and ingenuity. We did not guide them. We did not mentor them. We used them, and now we are paying the price. Thexter put down the report. His hands were shaking. "How did we not see it?" he whispered. "We didn't want to see it," Moroccan said. "They were young. We were elder. We assumed we were superior. We never questioned it. What do we do? We asked them to come back. And this time we asked properly." The council sent a delegation to Earth. 6 representatives from 6 species. They traveled in a ship that barely functioned because the human-maintained systems were failing. They arrived at Earth and requested a meeting. With Foreign Minister Taeyang Kim, he received them in a comfortable office with a view of mountains. He looked older, but healthier than when he had been on the council world. The stress had left his face. The delegation sat before him, uncomfortable and awkward. "Foreign Minister," the Vrelian delegate began, "we come to request that humanity reconsider its withdrawal from active council participation." "I see," Taeyang said. "Why?" The question hung in the air. Because we need you," the Krellian delegate admitted. "You needed us for 50 years, Taeyang said quietly. It didn't seem to matter then. We made mistakes, Moroccan said. She was the junior member of the delegation, but she spoke with honesty. We treated you badly. We took your contributions for granted. We stole your innovations. We ignored your suffering. We were wrong. Taiyang looked at each of them. Do you know how many humans died on New Pyongyang while the Council protected Vrelian mining operations? Silence, 2,000, including Governor Yoon's 12-year-old son. He died in her arms while she waited for help that never came. The delegates looked at the floor. Do you know how many years? Dr. Ki Woo Nam spent developing quantum shielding before you declared it galactic commons and gave him nothing? 7 years, Moroccan whispered. I know. I read the files. Do you know how many human achievements have been erased from history books? Too many, she said. Taeyang stood and walked to the window. Earth was beautiful from here, green and blue and alive. For 50 years we gave everything, he said. We saved lives. We built infrastructure. We solved problems. We fed the hungry. We healed the sick. And in return we were patted on the head and told to be grateful. We know, the Vrelian delegate said. And we're sorry. We're truly sorry. Sorry doesn't bring back the dead, Taeyang said. Sorry doesn't return the years of stolen work. Sorry doesn't undo 50 years of disrespect. Then what do you want? The delegate asked desperately. Taeyang turned to face them. His eyes were hard. I want you to understand something. Humanity doesn't need the Council. We never did. We joined because we thought it would be good for everyone. We thought we could build something better together. We were wrong. We are fine. Our colonies are prosperous. Our technology advances every day. Our people are safe and well-fed. We don't need you, the words landed like hammer blows, but you need us, Taeyang continued. That's why you're here. Not because you value us, but because your systems are failing. 5 years after humanity's withdrawal, the Galactic Council held an emergency summit. The beautiful chambers that once symbolized unity now felt empty and cold. Councillor Thextor stood before his fellow councillors. He looked 20 years older than he was. The weight of failure had carved deep lines in his face. We can no longer pretend, he said. His voice lacked its old arrogance. Our civilization is collapsing, not slowly, not gracefully. We are falling apart. The other councillors shifted uncomfortably. They knew it was true. The Velthrian homeworld's atmosphere is at 30% toxicity, Thextor continued. Without human intervention, the planet will be uninhabitable in 18 months. The quantum relay network is 40% offline. Entire systems are isolated. The food shortage has caused 3 famines. Medical care has regressed 50 years. And pirates are attacking our outer colonies with impunity because our defense systems no longer function properly. He pulled up a display. Charts and graphs filled the air. Everyone showed decline. But the worst part, Thextor said quietly, is that we did this to ourselves. Moroccan stood. She had been promoted to junior counselor after her report proved accurate. I have reviewed 70 years of records. I have traced every innovation, every advancement, every solution to major problems. 93% originated from human minds or human hands. We didn't guide them. We didn't uplift them. They carried us. That cannot be accurate, an elder Krellian counselor objected. We are elder species. We have thousands of years of advancement. Yes, Moroccan agreed. Thousands of years of advancement that had stagnated. We were coasting on old knowledge. When the humans arrived, they brought fresh thinking, novel solutions. They saw problems we had lived with for so long that we stopped seeing them as problems. She pulled up more data. Dr. Haiwan Park solved the atmospheric crisis in 18 months. Our best scientists had worked on it for a decade with no progress. Engineer Sang-Ho Lee designed the quantum relay network that our engineers said was impossible. Commander Daewon Kang developed defensive strategies that turned the tide in the frontier wars when our military leaders saw no path to victory. The chamber was silent. We took everything they gave us, Moroccan said. And we gave them nothing but contempt. We stole their innovations. We erased their achievements from history. We let their children die while protecting our mining operations. We called them oversensitive when they asked for basic respect. Thextor bowed his head. I am guilty of all of this. I dismissed them. I mocked them. I believed we were superior simply because we were older. I was wrong. And because of my pride, billions are suffering now. For the first time in Council history, an elder species admitted fundamental error. We must ask them to return, Moroccan said. But this time, we must offer them real terms. Not token gestures. Real equality. The Council debated for 3 days. Some councillors argued that offering humanity too much would upset the traditional order. Others said humanity should be grateful just to be asked back. But the younger councillors, those who had actually worked alongside humans, knew better. They had seen human brilliance firsthand. They knew the truth. Finally, the Council reached a decision. They would send a delegation to Earth, not to demand, not to negotiate from strength, to ask, properly. The delegation was led by Moroccan. She insisted on it. She had been one of the few who tried to warn them. She had earned the right to fix it. The delegation arrived at Earth on a ship that barely functioned. The irony was not lost on them. Foreign Minister Tae Kim received them again. This time he was not alone. With him sat Admiral Daewon Kang, still sharp and commanding despite his age. Dr. Haewon Park, gray-haired now, but eyes still bright with intelligence. Engineer Sang-ho Lee's daughter, Young Mi Lee, who had inherited her father's genius. Trade Minister Soo-jin Lee, who had restructured humanity's entire economy, and Bo-ra Shin, who had served beside Tae-yang for over 50 years. She was humanity's memory keeper. She remembered every slight, every theft, every death. Moroccan looked at them and saw what the Council had lost. Not servants, partners, friends even. We come to ask humanity to return to active Council participation, Moroccan began. She kept her voice humble. We understand that our past treatment of you was unacceptable. We took you for granted. We stole from you. We let your people suffer and die. We erased your achievements. We were wrong about everything. Tae-yang nodded slowly. Yes, you were. We have prepared terms, Moroccan said, with the Council's full approval. We hope they will be acceptable. She presented a document. It was long, detailed, carefully written. Bo-ra read it aloud. The Galactic Council formally acknowledges and apologizes for the systematic mistreatment of humanity over the past 50 years. The Council admits that human contributions were essential to galactic prosperity, and that these contributions were not properly valued or compensated. She paused. It's a start. Moroccan continued. The Council offers humanity equal representation and voting power. No longer will decisions be made by elder species alone. Humanity will have full voice in all Council matters. Admiral Kang raised an eyebrow. Equal voting power? The same as elder species? Yes. The concept of elder and younger species will be eliminated from Council law. All members will be considered equal. Dr. Park looked surprised. That's significant. The Council also agrees to establish ironclad intellectual property protections, Moroccan said. Human innovations will belong to humans unless humanity chooses to share them. The practice of declaring technology galactic commons will end immediately. What about past thefts? Young Mi Lee asked pointedly. My father's quantum relay network. Dr. Park's atmospheric processors. Dr. Kiwoo Nam's shield technology. We never received proper compensation. The Council proposes reparations, Moroccan said. We have calculated the value of all human innovations that were taken without compensation. The amount will be paid over 20 years. She displayed a number. It was enormous. The humans looked at each other. That's more than fair, Trade Minister Soo-jin admitted. The Council also guarantees complete autonomy for human worlds, Moroccan continued. No Council laws will override human sovereignty. Your colonies will govern themselves as they see fit. What about military protection? Admiral Kang asked. New Pyongyang wasn't protected when we asked. 2,000 died. Moroccan's face showed pain. We failed them. We failed you. The new treaty guarantees that Council military forces will protect all member worlds equally. No priority based on species. Human colonies will receive the same protection as any other. Bora looked at Moroccan. You understand this changes everything. The Council as you knew it will end. Yes, Moroccan said. It should have ended 50 years ago. We were corrupt. We were stagnant. We took advantage of your generosity. We need to change. Fundamentally. One more thing, Bora said quietly. The truth. In every school, in every textbook, the real history of the last 50 years. Dr. Park saved 12 billion Velthrians. Commander Sang-Ho Lee built the quantum network. 300 humans died during construction. Ji Woo Choi brought peace to the frontier wars. These facts will be taught. Properly. The Council agrees, Moroccan said. Full historical accuracy. Human achievements will be properly credited. She pulled up one more document. We have rewritten the Galactic History textbook. This is the new version. Would you like to review it? Dr. Park took the document. She read through the sections on recent history. Her eyes grew moist. This is accurate, she said softly. This is what really happened. Tae-yang stood and walked to the window. He looked out at Earth. Green. Beautiful. Safe. They had built a good life here without the Council. But he also remembered the young man he had been 50 years ago, full of hope, believing that different species could work together. Build something better. Maybe they still could. These terms are acceptable, he said. But understand this clearly. We are not returning because we need you. We are returning because you need us. And because we believe, perhaps foolishly, that cooperation is better than isolation. We understand, Moroccan said. If the Council falls back into old patterns, Admiral Kang added, if you start taking us for granted again, if you steal from us, if you let our people die while protecting your interests, we will leave again. And next time we won't come back. We understand, Moroccan repeated. And we will do better. We have to. We have no choice. The humans conferred privately. The delegation waited, nervous. Finally, Bora spoke for all of them. Humanity will return to active Council participation under the terms presented. But we want one more thing. Anything, Moroccan said. Councillor Thextor must publicly admit his mistakes, not in private, before the entire Council. He must acknowledge what he did and apologize. We need to know this isn't just words on paper. He is willing. Moroccan said. He insisted on it, actually. He says he owes you that much. 3 months later, the Council chambers were full again. Every seat occupied, every member present. They were there to witness something historic. Councillor Thextor stood in the center of the chamber. He looked old and tired, but his voice was strong. I stand before you to admit my failures, he said. For 50 years, humanity contributed more to this Council than any other species. They saved lives. They built infrastructure. They solved impossible problems.